Hi, this is Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of RegAlytics, with your update on this week's 20,011 regulatory alerts compared to 37,030 during the same week last year, which is a 17,000 alert difference. First and foremost, I would like to wish a very happy Veterans Day to all of you who have served. Here at RegAlytics, we have recently brought on the most impressive West Point Navy pilot and Harvard MBA grad to the team. So if you're lucky enough to meet Darren Sumter, be humbled. He's been giving my 7-year-old some pointers on how to make his cardboard spruce goose more realistic. But seriously, the sacrifice people made to ensure that we continue to experience the relentless humming of activity in this country is something we should never forget, even when it feels boring. And speaking of boring, this week's alerts were the opposite of boring. You have to understand, I do this every single week, never fail, for 5 years straight. I have a routine, I have a method, I have a process. Sometimes I will read for hours and hours and there's really nothing that interesting. And sometimes I find myself way too many interesting things and it's a challenge to figure out how to make it be 5 minutes. But today I went to my usual A to Z, started at A, which includes artificial intelligence. And on the first screen, which is the first 25 alerts at random, there were 3 zingers so amazing that it's all I'm going to talk about. So, zinger 1. Here in the United States, we are cutting back on so much scientific R&D gone, so much research gone, so much environmental efforts that when I read this alert from the National China Council, I really see a tale of two cities in our future. In contrast, the Chinese government is pushing innovation in 22 key areas by 2025, meaning now. So you read the fields and it's things like unmanned systems, deep sea exploration, clean energy, manufacturing, driverless transportation, healthcare for elderly and vulnerable people, agriculture, and more. In short, it's the opposite of what's happening here. And if you do the math on what the Head Start is going to mean for their future relative to ours, well, buckle up, my friends, because it's going to be a new world we are entering. The second zinger was from the Ohio House of Representatives. This one blew my mind. They have a hearing coming up for a bill that is what seems to be the first bill that formally declares artificial intelligence systems to be non-sentient and cannot be granted legal personhood or similar rights. I can't even. I guess we're there. The jokes about the Terminator and the machines taking over, that's a real law in a real US state, which means our leadership is legitimately worried that someday the machines may be granted personhood status. I mean, I guess after Citizens United, where companies are treated as persons in terms of freedom of speech, it's not a huge leap to imagine our Supreme Court could treat AI systems as persons as well. The third zinger is from the Vietnam Ministry of Science and Technology. Vietnam is drafting its first AI law, which is almost identical to the EU AI Act. Now, this is interesting because it means that the world around us is starting to take sides, so to speak, on how AI is regulated. So I looked it up, and so far, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, and Brazil have AI proposals or rules that mimic the structure of the EU AI Act, and this is out of the EU. Vietnam's proposed draft has the same 4 risk levels, including this unacceptable uses where AI is completely banned. Some of the risks that are unacceptable are the same as EU, like manipulating human perception, exploiting vulnerable groups, or profiling or scoring practices that cause unfair treatment. Now, both ban biometric extraction in public spaces without permission, but Vietnam goes a little bit further. You can't even create a large-scale database from indiscriminate image scraping, meaning You may not be doing the one doing the scraping, but if you're the beneficiary of someone else scraping by storing indiscriminate images, then you are using artificial intelligence in an unacceptable way. The other big difference is that Vietnam focuses more on banning AI when it comes to threats to national security, public order, or social stability. So they do not want AI to be messing with their culture. To that end, the Vietnam draft includes the creation or dissemination of deep fakes or synthetic content that threatens national security or social order. Anyway, that's it this week for RegAlytics. We do have the global supply chain of the world's regulatory alerts in one very easy to use place. And if you need a solution for anything related to regulation, give us a call.